Time for our pit stop. Here, we take a brief rest. It's a time to refuel, recharge, and explore shorter topics that are meaningful and helpful to us RVers. Welcome to RV Out West. I'm your host, Brooks. In the summer of 2022, we had a grand family trip planned, one for the memory banks of a lifetime. We hadn't seen our East Coast family since before the pandemic, and so we decided to drag our trailer across America from sea to shining sea. Our starting point was going to be Haystack Rock in Cannon Beach, Oregon, with our turnaround destination to be Chincoteague, Virginia, where we were going to see the wild ponies of Assateague Island. As a side note, if you have a horse person in your family, check out the book Misty of Chincoteague by Marguerite Henry. We had been planning this trip for about a year, dreaming of destinations, places we wanted to eat, talking with our children about what they wanted to see, to not only get them involved, but to be excited to see the United States through the windshield. Life happens. So, to expect the unexpected is always a real possibility. I've always heard that things like this happen in thirds. Our original departure date was set to be on my wife and I's 17th wedding anniversary. Except we all got COVID. Insert the first incident. The kids bounced back pretty quickly. It took my wife and I a bit longer, and then I ended up in the intensive care unit for 5 days due to complications from a comorbidity. When I was finally released from the hospital, I was rested, a bit weaker than normal, down 10 pounds, and chomping at the bit to hit the road. My cool and level-headed wife reeled me in, and we revised our schedule to go east. It just involved a more condensed schedule, which meant more time checking off the miles. We canceled existing reservations, made new reservations, and finalized our plan. Our first day on the road found us with the scheduled 9-hour drive, but this is not RV time, so it was more like an 11-hour day. We arrived at camp, excited for what was to become and in some new landscape. The next morning was an early start for us. We got up, started to prep for the day's drive, and when my wife was bringing in our slide, it made an odd noise and then started to crab its way in. It got stuck and wouldn't go in anymore, but it would go out. Well, after I dropped a few choice words at the situation, raising my fists at the heavens above, we started digging through manuals, YouTube videos, internet searching, phone calls to both the manufacturer and to our dealer. 6 hours later, we were able to bring the slide in enough that we could mosey on down the road. Insert the second incident. This unplanned and unexpected setback once again had us revising where we planned to stop for the night, how it would affect the rest of our trip, and my wife making a bunch of phone calls down the road while we drove in that direction to see about getting a repair done. Dakota Recreation Repair saved our bacon big time in Bismarck, North Dakota. Every other place was booked, and their next open date was in 3 months. Dakota Recreation Repair stepped up, totally helped us out, and got us back on the road in under an hour. If you ever find yourself in need of repair in Bismarck, I 100% recommend these guys. I'm not sponsored. They are really just good people. The third and final incident was in the final 2,000-mile stretch before we got home. My pickup had a mild but unusual vibration to it. I could kind of feel it in the steering wheel, but I just couldn't locate where it was coming from. I checked all my trailer tires. One seemed especially bald, so there at a Camping World parking lot on a Sunday afternoon in Oklahoma City's 90-plus degree heat, I changed the tire. As we drove further west along Interstate 40, the vibration got worse. I just couldn't locate the source. We thought it might have been the road conditions, but for such a long stretch of road to be that bad didn't make any sense. As we neared Flagstaff, again, I had my wife and co-pilot start phoning tire shops, and Discount Tire in Flagstaff, Arizona would take us. As we rolled in at 4 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, they looked at my truck and trailer. Yes, the trailer needed a new set of tires, but what I couldn't see and locate was that my driver rear tire on my pickup had a bulge to it. If that had blown out while I was driving 60 miles per hour, who knows what would have happened? But it wouldn't have been good. We drove 860 miles on that tire. Talk about being lucky. John Steinbeck summed it up perfectly in his book, Travels with Charlie. Once a journey is designed, equipped, and put in process, a new factor enters and takes over. A trip, a safari, an exploration is an entity different from all other journeys. It has personality, temperament, individuality, uniqueness. A journey is a person itself, and no two are alike. And all plans, safeguard, policing, and coercion are fruitless. We find after years of struggle that we do not take a trip takes us. The point here is that we can all learn from these setbacks. I learned that after many years of not believing that I was handy and that I cannot fix things, in fact, I can. Yet, I am my own worst enemy, and when situations like this arise, I don't need to fly off the handle in exasperation, but rather look at it as a puzzle and to believe in myself. I know that things happen while on the road. I've come to expect it. I plan the best that I can for it, but a screwball is still a screwball. Ultimately, it's all part of the adventure and the stories that we collectively bring back around a future campfire and share with our friends and family. Thanks so much for listening to RV Out West. Join us again in 2 weeks with our next episode. Please like and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or wherever you choose to get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. And I sure would appreciate if you left a rating or a review of the show. Special thanks to Scott Holmes Music for providing the intro song, We Are One. RV Out West can be found on Instagram and Facebook, where you can interact with us and follow along on our RV adventures around the Pacific Northwest. So get out there, explore, and go see what's beyond the horizon.